How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to Lombardi Sweep, week 3 in the Packers season. Got a lot of injury updates to go through today. Packers are 1-1. They ran the ball over the Colts with ease. Thank God DeForest Buckner got ruled out, but the Packers just ran the ball a million times, won the game. Luke and Trevor doubted them. Me and Janet were on. I picked them to lose. I just thought they were going to be close. And what was it? It was close. That's the thing. I keep going back to that. Like, what was your confidence level on that when the Colts got the ball back? I'm just like, this feels like a Joe Barry situation, but Joe Barry wasn't there.
It was
so
like
maybe
a
that's
3.
the good news. Yeah, it's like after they got that first down, it's like, okay, I think, or they moved the ball. Like they shit the bed. They had options, but yeah, it was not. That was something. That was a game. Thank God the Colts have arguably the worst defensive coordinator in the league, one of them. And thank God for DeForest Buckner being out. Packers get the win. That's all that matters. Josh Jacobs ran the ball over 30 times. He is now on track for 425 touches for the season. That's not sustainable. So we will have to figure that out. Unfortunately, Marshawn Lloyd, he ended up making his league debut this past week. I thought he had that one run. I thought he looked pretty good. He's put on IR. Awesome. I thought so too. He's put on IR for that same hamstring issue. So he's out for at least 4 weeks. That sucks. Emmanuel Wilson still slotted in behind him. Packers don't seem very interested in getting him involved. Josh Jacobs, will get to it, but after carrying the team, he's limited with a back injury.
Makes sense.
Poetic, really. It does make a lot of sense. But Luke, you were there. What was the feeling in the home opener? We talked about, we were a little nervous about the volume, the passion. How was it?
I thought it was fine, right? It wasn't, a Bears Sunday night opening game, right? It was never going to be. Like I said on the show last week, like Packer fans find like even the littlest thing to rally around. Like Malik Willis had all the support in the world. As Packers know, like it's blasphemy if you say one bad thing about the Packers in Lambeau Field. So I mean, everyone's always in good spirits. Like it was fine. It was nothing crazy. I don't necessarily know that the crowd played a factor into the Packers winning the game more than me like being a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson played a factor into the game. But like it was a fine game. Like Packers did what they needed to do. They got the win. At this point, without your franchise quarterback, without your $55 million guy, win at any cost, and they did. So cool. I think Packers ran the ball great. Defensively, they played great. So the game was a lot closer than it should have been, given that you had, given that, and this is not a shot at Malik Willis, but given that you have a quarterback in there who takes chances over the middle of the field, I think the Packers win that game by like 30 points. But yeah, it was fine.
How many Colts fans were there?
There's a good one. I saw a lot of Jeff Saturday jerseys, which made my heart feel warm because I'm a Jeff Saturday guy. Loved when he came to Green Bay that one year.
Hey, beat the Chiefs a couple years ago, coaching football too.
People forget. And I think that Jonathan Taylor also playing for the Colts had a lot to do with people kind of rooting a little bit for the Colts.
That makes sense. It's not that far of a drive either.
Yeah,
people are gone. No Joe Flacco jerseys though.
Didn't see one.
Any Joseph Adai?
No, saw a Dwight Freeney jersey coming in. I'm trying to think of the weird ones that I saw. I saw Tony Mandrich Packer jersey. Like, why the fuck do you have that?
Any Scott Tolzien?
Oh, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Either way, it would have been a good one.
Do the stitch, half and half. That would have been.
That's the stitch jersey to do.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, like I wrote it a couple times. It was one of the most like physically dominating games I've seen the Packers play in some time. And it's just insane that it came down to one throw. Like they could have lost that game, which would have been one of the most insane losses of all time. Because I felt like we haven't seen a Packers team dominate in every phase of the game in that same way in a long time. Yet it was so close. Odd. Weird game.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, just dominant. Like every single run play, the Colts defense line was 6 yards in the defensive backfield. Like any three of us could have ran for 100 yards in that game.
They didn't change anything. They just run the same fucking thing over and over. It's incredible.
And that's credit to the Packers offensive line too. Like they played great.
Packers offensive line played great. They did what they had to do. I applaud Matt LaFleur. We have to do this when he does this. He didn't get away really from what was working. We've seen it a lot of times with LaFleur. We've seen it with McCarthy. It's like you have a really good first quarter of doing something, and then you stop. I do truly believe if Aaron Jones was the running back in this game, he would have had 200 yards in the first quarter and then 0 the rest of the way. Like that's how I don't know why we just don't give him the ball. But yeah, it was a good game. I mean, Trevor, what's your thoughts?
I mean, my first thought was, where the fuck was all this changing around and motion and all these end around bullshit when Aaron Jones was here? I mean, that could have been helpful in the plenty of games where our offense went stagnant. But no, the offense was really good. Defense. Quay Walker might be the worst linebacker I've seen in my life. But I mean, how much can we really take from the defense with the way Anthony Richardson was playing? I mean, I think the defense did some things well, but I mean, to your point, Luke, Anthony Richardson was awful, and thank God they also went away from Jonathan Taylor in a game that was close pretty much the whole games, at least on the scoreboard. So, good win to your point. Like when your starting quarterback is out and you need wins for a playoff run, you take whatever the hell you can get. But
to that point, Trevor, about the Colts going away from Jonathan Taylor, which is crazy. He's averaging like 8 yards a carry. People got to slow the roll on Hafley here. I know that they play two like really huge running teams in Philadelphia and Indianapolis. The Packers still have given up the most rushing yards in the NFL this year. And you bring in a guy like this to stop the Saquon Barkleys, to stop the Jonathan Taylors. I know it's going to take time, but we just got to pump the brakes a little bit on calling Hafley our savior.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. And yes, Anthony Richardson looked bad. Also, yes, that's his 19th game he's ever started, not just NFL. We're talking ever. He is still very, 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 very inexperienced. And
for
it
sure.
shows. Like Malik Willis has started and finished more NFL games than Anthony Richardson has. So, like, even the more experience, it's Malik Willis. Anthony Richardson's fine. He didn't play very well. The interior of the Colts offensive line is not very good. Talked about that last week. Kenny Clark absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah,
huge game. And Richardson is caught in the middle of a million things. Like you can just see him thinking he's getting told not to run and sacrifice his body, but then he's getting pressured. So then he can't really set his feet and throw. No one's open. So then now like he's in no man's land and then he fucks up. So
in that game too, when people were open, like they just didn't catch the ball.
Yeah, you feel bad for him, but he helped the Packers defense look good. That's a confidence boosting win. It was good stuff. 4 snap counts for the Packers. Jacobs, like we said, he dominated the game. He played 47 snaps out of 70. The Packers did that rotation at right guard still. Sean Ryan played 50, and he played pretty well in my opinion. Jordan Morgan played 20. Then the rest of the offensive line was normal. Weirdly enough, Christian Watson played the most snaps of any Packers wide receiver. He is just irrelevant on the field. And then tight end wise, we started in 12 personnel. They played together some. Tucker Kraft ended up playing more snaps at 56. Luke Musgrave 31. Tucker Kraft is just a better blocker. Yeah. And he looked good blocking. Obviously, Packers game plan was pretty obvious, right? So run again. So that makes sense.
Yep.
Any takeaways there?
No, I mean, like it's another, like I said, like it was a fine game. Like what do you take away? They came out with the game plan to run the ball. They ran the ball. I would imagine it's probably a similar game plan this coming week. I don't know how well, Tennessee's obviously got a much better defensive front than Indianapolis. So I'll be interested to see when Tennessee makes Malik Willis throw the ball over the middle, see what happens there.
Yeah, speaking of making Malik Willis throw, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I loved the decision at the end of the first half to just run the ball.
For sure.
Up 10. I thought it was absolutely wild that the fans were booing it. To Matt LaFleur's point, you do not take fucking chances with Malik Willis. That's how you lose the game. And seeing how the game went, like let's say Malik Willis turns it over or the Colts get the ball back, they get 3 points. That entire game is so different, especially the last drive. So I'll give hats off to LaFleur for that, for a good call. But one takeaway, I guess, for me, which is, I guess, against what I said about the defense, I thought Eric Wilson looked great. I thought he made 2 great plays. I thought the interception was a good catch to make. He was all over Pittman. And then to be on Richardson on that option every other Packer linebacker in the history of Green Bay Packers would have bid on that, would have lost them to keep him there, and allows the troops to rally for that tackle. They miss a field goal. I thought he was fantastic. I think he needs more snaps.
Yeah, I mean, I think he played a decent amount of snaps, but yeah, Eric Wilson, obviously, he actually could have played more, but he was the linebacker that I don't know about you guys. I definitely got shit for when I said we should pick him up. Was it 2 years ago, last year? And he's played really good ever since coming here. He's good to go. In terms of other, go ahead.
Do you still have the snap counts up?
Yep, I was going to go over the defensive snap counts.
Oh, perfect. This is a great segue into it. How many snaps did Rashawn Gary play? Because I felt like he played 0.
He played 37 of the 56. He played middle of the road for snaps. But yeah, snap counts continue to be all over the place. Pro Football Focus continues to just not do their job. Kenny Clark was the 5th worst graded Packers defensive player in the game. That's insane. Like, what are you doing? In terms of snap counts on the defensive side of the ball, which is insane. Edgerrin Cooper played 7 snaps. We need to start playing him, please. Isaiah McDuffie played 50. So make that change. Thank you. Eric Stokes only played 24. Part of the reason why there's success there. Lucas Van Ness played 19. If we're not drafting good players, what are we doing? We said Rashawn Gary, obviously. Kenny Clark played 35. Was effective in those 35. But yeah. Kenny Clark, 3 hurries in the game. Pretty good.
What was the safety split?
It was pretty heavy. Bullard played 42 of the 56. McKinney played all snaps. Evan Williams played 20.
Okay.
Yeah. Carrington Valentine played a lot of snaps for Eric Stokes, obviously. And then Keyshawn Nixon operated in the slot. But yeah, pretty good. I mean, Packers defense, as Jair said, don't really have to watch film. They were barely out there. They didn't really make mistakes. Colts handed the Packers this game. They got drastically outcoached. And I'm not necessarily applauding the Packers coaches, but we didn't overthink this game, and that's good.
Yeah, they did what they needed to do.
Right. It was just simple. Like we talked about last week, Colts aren't a very good team, and they just showed up as such. This week, I think the Titans are a good team. So that's when I'm nervous, and people keep talking about how bad they are. That's not true. Will Levis is horrible, but this is a good football team. Luke, when we were previewing the AFC South for betting, is like, this is a team I like for over the wins. It kills me because I picked the over for the Titans for betting, obviously. I think it was 6.5 wins or something like that. Yeah. This should have been a 2-0 Titans team. And I would feel so much better about that bet now because this defense is legit. They started out super fast. Special teams is fine. Offensively, receiving core is okay. Offensive line is much, much better. Running backs are good. It's just Will Levis is a doofus. Like he's just dumb.
When you're running off the field and the coach is yelling at you, what the fuck are you doing? Like, things have to change.
Yeah. He's like, Will Levis is a grown-up. He knows he's doing things he's not supposed to do. Like, cut the shit. Who's their backup?
Are the Titans the first team to lose the first 2 games of the season by the same exact score?
I don't know. By the same exact player and the same exact score, maybe.
Yeah, to your point, their defense is legit. The Packers, we'll get into it a little more. The Packers are definitely not going to be able to run all over the Titans. If Will Levis just looks competent, we are, it's really, really close.
I think it's a big
for sure. Mason Rudolph's their backup. He'd be better in there than Will Levis, obviously, but I hate Mason Rudolph. So
is there a more hateable quarterback room than the Tennessee Titans right now?
I don't think so.
I think if you
Tyler Huntley in Miami makes that a lot better for me.
But if you ranked all 64 quarterbacks, Tennessee probably has 63 and 64 for liking the player.
Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy's tough.
I don't know. It's tough because the Vikings. If Sam Darnold wasn't on the Vikings and he was doing this, I think I'd be on board.
I hate him. He is the definition of nepotism. If he was black, you know how criticized this guy would be? Like, this guy, he sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so annoying. So annoying. I don't know another. I mean, God, Cleveland's so lucky they got Jameis.
You're right.
I mean, that would be number one, probably.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. And it might be number one just because of Deshaun Watson.
I'm telling, no, it's not. Jameis is too likable. He covers up a lot of mistakes.
So he's got to be one of like three backup quarterbacks that you can bring in that elevates that to like 30, 31.
He has to be the most likable backup, right? Flacco's good. You know what? I still appreciate Carson Wentz. I'm not sure if he's likable, but
yeah, like probably not to the same degree. I like Tyrod.
Oh, Tyrod's great.
Yeah,
I'm a big Michael Penix guy.
I'll throw, because I don't think a lot of people agree with me. I'm going to throw some love to my North Carolina quarterbacks with Drake May and Sam Howell.
Stop it.
Drake May, fine. He's just nothing to me. I don't love him or dislike him. Sam Howell's a child. Can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
No. I can never get. He sucks. So does Zach Wilson. That's a bad one.
Mike White. Great.
He's not backup, technically. He's on practice.
He should be. Well, then Tyler Huntley, too.
Sure.
Great.
Right, yeah, if he gets the backup, for sure. There's somebody we're missing, but maybe we'll get to that after we talk about the game a little bit. So, Packers play in Tennessee, and Jordan Love returns to practice. Like we said, he had a sleeve. It looked like a brace underneath. No padded, no contact. Didn't really do much except for light jogging. Participated in some of the drills, but, far, far, far from game speed. So slow your roll in terms of thinking he's coming back this week. I would assume it's next week. It's just another gamesmanship thing that the Packers think they are super clever with. I don't get it, but it is what it is. I suppose it's two very different style quarterbacks that you're preparing for, but whatever. Also, like I said, in case you're joining now, Marshawn Lloyd put on IR with that same hamstring, so he is out for at least 4 weeks. So now the rest of the Packers injury report today, it's a long one. Apparently a lot of the offensive linemen and a lot of the just the players in general, they're so worn down from last game, which makes sense.
Very physical
game. Hot, physical, like that game plan is not sustainable, obviously. So they're just trying to rest up and get better. Unfortunately, they play a more physical team this week, and the high in Tennessee, we'll get to it, 94 at the current moment.
Hot.
That's not good. Not going to be good. That's why I'm a little nervous here. But the injury report in terms of did not participate at all. We have Elton Jenkins with an illness and a glute. We have Jordan Morgan with a shoulder. Jaden Reed with a calf injury. And then Carrington Valentine with an ankle. And then limited, Kenny Clark toe, Kingsley Enagbare groin, Josh Jacobs back, Tyler Kraft shoulder, Jordan Love knee, Josh Myers ankle, Zach Tom quad, and Rasheed Walker shoulder. So the entire offensive line minus Sean Ryan and other offensive guys. Meanwhile, the Titans, 3 players did not participate today. 2 of them were veteran rest days. Their only injury is backup running back Tajay Spears. So the Titans are pretty healthy. They just unfortunately still have Will Levis. That's kind of their handicap. But the Packers are beat down going into a very hot place. Away game, that's always a big question mark for a LaFleur coach team. I'm nervous this week. I
agree. And I guess before I talked about the game, just a little side note here on the last game. Linemen have been getting more love as of recently, like in the scope of the NFL, which is great. I still think that it's the funniest thing ever when it's probably not funny, but it's when it's hot out and linemen just fucking let it rip on the field, just throw up everywhere. It's incredible. Yeah. So I'm happy to see that. Is this another game where Josh Myers is throwing up on the football on 3rd down? Maybe, and that's kind of funny. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough game. Like it's gonna be hotter than it was last game. Like that, and it was weird. There's no talk about it at all. The Packers just got their 800th win, first team ever to get there. Like I don't know if that's even on their mind.
Yeah, it's not talked about.
if that's on their mind. But if that's a hump to get over, I don't know. Maybe this is kind of a takeoff game for them. Like, this is really not in the grand scheme of making the playoffs. It's really not they don't really need to win this game. So yeah, I agree. I'm nervous. Like, it feels like a lot of the things that went right against Indianapolis could go wrong against Tennessee.
Yeah, next week's much bigger. Again, next week they play Minnesota. So
yeah,
that's an important game against the Titans, who, after losing the first 2 games, are probably not even a wild card in the AFC. So who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing too crazy then. It's just the Titans, like I said, they are a very good physical team. They have played very good defense. They've brought in a couple guys. Ernest Jones, middle linebacker, saw an expanded role in week 2. He is now their Mike there. L'Jarius Sneed has played really well, so I would assume L'Jarius Sneed is probably just going to take away a side of the field. So it's either going to be Christian Watson or Romeo Doubs. Probably Christian Watson. Packers seem very fine with making him a decoy and just taking a cornerback out of the play. I mean, whatever, I guess.
Good use of a second-round pick at a position that you need.
Brian Gutekunst doesn't miss.
Yeah.
Does not miss. This guy is a savage up there, making decisions. So good. Doesn't ask the coach. Doesn't do anything else, but got unlocked. Doesn't negotiate contracts. He's not allowed to do that. Not allowed to do that. He doesn't get to touch the money, but he's really good at his job.
Yeah.
Does a lot of stuff. Really good stuff. Likes to color, I assume. I assume he's got a hair gel sponsorship. At this point, that's his personality.
He does have good hair.
Great hair.
Yeah.
Great hair. LaFleur, great eyebrows. That's probably why they found each other, you know? Outside of that, like, there's not much football. There's no way Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur have ever had a conversation about football at all. Like, just small talk doesn't even come up. Football, they barely know that each other are in the business. No shot. Don't like it. Okay, so
I got one more thing about the game. And we talked about it in the last show. I'll say it verbatim. As much as he doesn't want to talk about, like, doesn't want to make this a revenge game, like, Malik Willis is going back to the team that benched him for Will Levis. Like, he has to be fired up about this game.
He has to be fired up, and the Packers, just for sustainability of their team, they have to have a different game plan. Like, there's no way they go in there and say, hey, we need to run the ball 50 times against a team who's, at the very least, is going to match them physically, I would assume. I think they're going to out-physical us just because of wear and tear, because of the heat, because of all of that. Just getting worn down, man. It's just, so now we're saying, okay, Malik Willis is going to have to throw it a little bit. L'Jarius Sneed's going to take away his side of the field. This game's going to cut. We know what the X factor in this game is. It's not fucking rocket science. It's who's going to make the most mistakes.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, we've seen Will Levis, the stars have aligned. He had like that 3-touchdown game to DeAndre Hopkins before. It feels like this is an accidental good game for him. With the Packers, it's like the game plan right now is to play conservative, but we can't play conservative against the Titans, I don't think. So we'll see how bad Malik is. I think he's a fine quarterback. He's way more accurate than Jordan Love. We'll see if he knows where to go with the ball. But if he also, what do the Titans do? Titans fans do? Do they boo him?
No, I don't think they will.
I would.
I wouldn't.
Wouldn't you? Like, what do you get? What, do you applaud?
No,
Thank
I don't.
You for
I don't
your
think,
service.
I don't think you have a strong reaction either way. Because I think
this is a.
Go ahead.
This is a team. Pre-game does not matter. Pre-game, maybe they applaud. But, if they're good fans while the game's going on, they're going to talk their shit. They have, 2 years of nothing positive from Malik Willis. They have so much dirt that they can just scream the most vile, they're in Tennessee, racist shit. And Malik Willis, how's he
they
respond?
were a slave state. I will say, being in Tennessee a couple times, not great football fans.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
That's a hockey town, not a football town.
That's true. You know what they are good at, though? You just brought it up, racism. So I think they can really tunnel vision that. And if Malik Willis is a natural born killer, he could come out and just sling that thing.
It'd be awesome.
Or it would be awesome. Or it could be fumbles. It could be just dumb interceptions.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I mean,
I don't know, man.
What we set aside, like this is the biggest game in Malik Willis' career.
To this point, it for sure
Yeah.
is. I mean, this could be, if he comes out and has a really, really good game, the storylines are all there, right? I mean, that's going to earn him another contract with somebody.
Yeah, yep.
I hope he does well. I mean, obviously, we're rooting for the Packers, but like, this is a guy we said immediately, like, we didn't really understand why the Titans moved on from him. I don't think he's incredible. Like, we never did, but it's like, there's no chance you know what you have in Malik Willis.
Correct.
And then you move on to Will Levis. It was so weird.
Yep.
I don't know. The betting odds, the Titans are favored by 2.5. The over-under is 37.5. So close game, low scoring, gross, a lot of mistakes, I assume. Both teams want to run the football, given the quarterback situations. Do we have a strong lean?
I'll probably say the same thing that I said about Indianapolis. I was wrong about Indianapolis. I'm cool with that. Like, to your point, I agree with both of you that I think Tennessee's a better team than Indianapolis. How does Tennessee not look at the film from Indianapolis and say, how did Indianapolis get away from the run? You know, like,
Yeah.
Tennessee can run this ball against Green Bay. I think, you know, if it, like you said, it's gonna be another hot game. I don't know. I said all signs kind of point to Green Bay losing this game. If Anthony Richardson didn't throw one of those 2 interceptions, the Colts win that game, and they score on a drive. The Colts win that game. Now Green Bay is going to have to let Malik Willis throw it around a little bit more, as opposed to, you know, screens and bubble screens and whatever. So I think this is kind of a gritty, you know, low scoring game. I'll say something similar to the Colts. Like, I'll go probably like 13-10 Tennessee in this one. I don't have faith in many points in this game.
Trevor?
I'll go 17-16. But I'll go Packers because I don't pick them often. You know, to your point, it's who makes more mistakes. I shouldn't like the Packers in this game, to your point about the heat and stuff. But if I'm going to play a game of who makes more mistakes, boy, you know, I'd feel like a fool if I didn't pick Will Levis. I understand everything's going against the Packers, but I mean, the amount of stupid shit that he does is insane. And one really stupid thing can change this entire game on its head. You know, if there aren't going to be many points scored, Will Levis scores a horrible pick 6. That's probably the game over. So I'm going to go with the Packers 17-16.
Packers continue to commit a bunch of penalties as well. I just looked it up. They commit 8
Always.
per game.
In LaFleur's tenure.
That's true. And the Heat's just not going to make it better. Right. And it's been a long week. You know, they're worn down, mentally not going to be there. We've all circled the same essential score. I have what did I write down? 16-13? Yeah. Titans win 16-13 for me. So I think we're all on the under, even though there's a lower point total anyway. It's just, who's going to make the most mistakes? Could I see Will Levis lighting up the Packers? Sure. But I just think there's going to be too many mistakes.
I'm not going to bet on
field
it.
Goal could be. Yeah, I'm not going to bet on that. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins feels like he's going to get going at some point, but clearly his torn MCL is hindering him. Makes sense. Obviously, and he's not even playing that many snaps, so we're kind of ruling him out. Let's just say. Calvin Ridley. Can the Packers stop Calvin Ridley? They should be able to. It's Tony Pollard. That's who I'm afraid of. It's Tony Pollard. He's ran for a touchdown back-to-back games against the Packers. Last regular season game was over 100 yards. Was that his last actual game? No. I mean, Packers ended Tony Pollard's season last year. Maybe he's angry about it. I'm going to guess he's not, because I remember when he was at Radio Row, he didn't know Dan Quinn was no longer defensive coordinator for his football team. He actually left for another head coaching job, but he found out then, like a month later. So he's probably doesn't, focus on what he's focused on. Probably doesn't remember the Packers ended a season. But maybe he does. Who knows?
I got a question for you guys before we end the show here. What's kind of it's weird to say it, it kind of felt like we knew at least a little bit what the Packers were coming into week one. And there's, much more uncertainty now, just given the quarterback play. Is there one thing you guys are looking forward to watching on the offense and defense side of the ball for the Packers this week?
I'm enjoying watching the interior 3 offensive linemen for the Packers. I think they've done a lot of really good stuff. Josh Myers will continue to make some mistakes and stuff, but when they're pulling around, like some of the run fits last week, in the games that Meyer and Sean Ryan were playing was really, really good.
Yeah.
I still don't think they need to be running a rotation at guard. I don't understand why they're doing that, but I like that a lot. And then defensively, like, I mean, this defensive line is fascinating to watch. It has been for a few years now. Will Lucas Van Ness get used? How much will he get used? And like, who's going to make the mistakes? Like, there's so many badly coached football players, I think, on this defensive line. But raw talent wise, I'll even say Rashawn Gary, raw talent, he's great.
Yeah.
He can't read. I'll say that. He can't take criticism. He's blocked all 3 of us. Maybe he blocked all 3 of us because we wrote too big of words for him. I don't know. But he is raw talent. He just cannot fucking follow directions whatsoever. He could lose this game. It's all about run defense for Rashawn Gary. So what's he going to do? Devontae Wyatt's extremely undisciplined. Shout out Georgia. You have a factory of it. And I mean, Quay Walker, Jesus Christ, him too, I guess. We'll throw him in this mix. If the Packers run fit is good, the Packers win this game.
Agreed.
Despite the offense.
Yep.
Because
agreed.
Will Levis will not beat us on his own. He will not.
Right.
He will make a mistake. Again, he's going to tie the noose. We talked about this last week. What do you do after you tie the noose? You jump in it, baby. And that's what Will Levis has done 2 weeks in a row. It's going to happen again.
Yeah. Yeah. Trevor, you have any strong thoughts, offense, defense?
I guess I'm interested to see Malik Willis, his progression. That's a firework. Progression, for lack of a better term. I know we're not going to get an Aaron Rodgers, but there were a couple throws that Malik Willis threw that last week where he throws it and you're going, what the hell? And then, Romeo Dobbs Moss is a guy, and so everything's okay. He's going to have to either a receiver's going to have to win a battle in the air, or he's going to have to stop making those passes because those can be drive killers. So I'm interested to see if he's a little more disciplined with the throws, because I feel like he forced a couple, and Tennessee's not going to let that slide.
Yeah. And for me on offense, Zach, do you still have the snap counts up? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's get Dontavian Wicks on the field. He's too good of a player not to have on the field.
Yeah, he played 36 of the 70 snaps, so he ended up playing.
That's more than I thought.
I know. He kind of just blended in. He played 3 fewer snaps than Reed in the slot. He ended up playing. They're all kind of even. He played 5 fewer than Watson, and he played. Where's Dobbs? Dobbs played a bunch of snaps. He played 19 fewer than Dobbs. But like after Dobbs, they're all just sort of interchangeable. And is that a strength? Is that a weakness? I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess my overarching point here is just, what's going on with the receiver. And that's kind of been my point since Devontae Adams has left, so fine. And as for defensively, I'm still interested in safeties. I think both safeties that have are studs. Xavier McKinney out there catching punts, that was great, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the greatest signing of all time," which I think is an incredible signing. But to say that off of that interception, it's crazy. But I think safeties are good. If we continue to see great safety play, I think that's something to be really excited about for the Packers' future.
Yeah, Packers defense is leading the lead in forced takeaways, and they've been gifts. They just just catch the balls that are thrown to you. I guess it's been insane. This Titans defense, as well as they're always coached to be super aggressive, so the Packers should theoretically be able to just get them to outrun some plays. It'll be interesting to see, because we used to run this a lot with Aaron Jones. When you play aggressive linebackers, you do that short pitch. It's almost an inside zone that's just a short pitch. They should be able to do that, and usually defenses will outrun it, right? Especially with people like Aaron Jones who are super quick. That play doesn't really work with Josh Jacobs. I'm wondering if they'll completely take that out or if they'll try to run it with him. If so, will that be successful? I have no idea. Because even like Wilson, we don't really have a speedster right now or like a game breaker at running back. But then also you can use that aggressiveness in our favor if we do establish the run. Get Malik Willis on the move a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like run that play action, run those bootlegs, just get the defense moving because we've seen it. If you get the defense moving and he has the time to throw, the Jaden Reed deep cross is going to be wide ass open. It always is.
Yeah. Yep.
Just do that.
Yeah. The Jaden Reed deep cross, the Bo Melton end around. Like you can hit big plays on Tennessee.
Yeah. Tennessee, I think they're good. We can out finesse them. We just can't face. I don't think we can fight them one-on-one, but we can out scheme them. Yeah. And again, LaFleur, when he's the most uncomfortable, when he has a hand tied behind his back, that's when he calls his best game somehow. It's just when he's comfortable, he does terrible. But when he actually has to try, he's great. It's weird.
Yeah, something I'm not excited for because he's friends with everyone in the league, but it is a LaFleur revenge game too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Him and Malik Willis are just talking each other up. It's like, you know how you sucked in Tennessee? Yeah, you suck too. Let's go show them how bad we suck now.
Somehow we both got a job in Green Bay.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah, it'll be a fun game. It'll be a close game though. That's the thing. Like this is going to be a fourth quarter game. So good one to watch. Clear your schedule. Anything? Oh, I got something else. Do you have anything Packers related before we go? I got something else non-Packer related.
Let it rip.
23andMe.
Yeah,
keeping up
crazy.
with this?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Suddenly, I thought it'd be funny because, I had something hidden in me that I wanted to discover. 0.2% Mongolian. I knew it was there all along.
Whoa.
Now, all of a sudden, like, I feel like they got too much dirt on me.
For sure.
Like,
so you're a descendant of Genghis Khan, first of all. That's crazy. And like, like they're just.
It's really not surprising if you know some of my other relatives.
It's just like, it's crazy that they just like stole everybody's fucking family lineage and identity.
Yeah. Also, just Google search Mary Bruner sometime. Shout out her if you're a history nerd or know anything about former serial killers. You'll know Mary Bruner, cousin from Eau Claire. Yeah,
nice.
And then also the Bruner name, little Third Reich action, very successful. Ooh. Not necessarily great people, but he was a very successful guy. But yeah, the Mary Bruner one, the head of the Manson family.
Interesting.
Man, that was way more off the rails than I thought that was gonna get.
True, but 23andMe, the whole board leaves. That's
crazy.
Yeah, don't try. There's something happening, and we just need to keep an eye on them. Something's happening.
Who thought that sending your DNA to a company that you have no idea about would end up bad?
I know. Spit in a tube. Don't have to ask me twice. Then all of a sudden, like, what's happening?
Yeah, right.
It was so fun. So they just had that big settlement because they gave away everyone's social security numbers. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Oopsies happen. If they go bankrupt, what's the last thing you sell? Like, it's not like they have a kidney to sell, but they have a lot of DNA.
Right, correct.
That's where I'm a little nervous.
Scary,
I don't know if they're necessarily doing something with the DNA, but how could you not? They're doing something.
If you had everyone's DNA, you would get something.
For sure. Yeah. Also, the CEO is also like married to the CEO of Google or something like that. So they have literally everybody's information. Like you have everything you could possibly want. I'm just a little uneasy. Don't let the election shit distract you. You know what? We need to just focus up. Let's join forces, every side. We need to debate 23andMe. We just need to figure out what's going on, then back to your regular, program.
Yep, I agreed 100%. I also have one more thing before we get off.
Great.
This is coming as a Shams believer, not a Woj guy, because Woj noted bad guy. It's kind of ironic that he retires a day after Diddy gets arrested.
That is. People have not. I'm not sure if you came up with this theory, but Okay, great.
Jeez.
That's a rhyme bomb. we need to look into people. We need to at least ask the questions that are there.
Yep.
We need to stop, I think.
I mean, there's no what it would be. Should we just turn a blind eye? That's never worked for anybody. We can't be doing that. We'll ask. Also, there's some unsurfaced tweets from Vince McMahon saying partying with P. Diddy. You know what? Maybe Vince McMahon did do some of this shit. There's a lot of stuff happening. A lot of stuff going on right now. P. Diddy also hangs out with LeBron. Something about LeBron's going to come out at some point. There's a few. Tom Hanks. Don't love that.
Yeah,
Can't have Tom Hanks get through.
people are going to Jay-Z right now too.
Jay-Z, yeah. There's
like P. Diddy kind of like discovered it. Yeah,
This
There's shit going
podcast
on.
has been 41 minutes, and I think maybe 12 of it has been about the Packers.
there's not much film to watch. Jair said it. We have to create our own content this week. Luckily, the internet's doing the internet right now. They're doing everything we need.
we're just talking about what's going on in the internet.
It's a weird hump day. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I might cut out the Packers stuff, to be honest, of this show. We'll see what happens in the final cut. But yeah, Trevor, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Okay. Little ashamed that Randy's not in the chat for this one. Or you know who's not here? We're gonna call him out just in case somehow he's lurking. Where's Stoof?
I'm worried. I
am worried.
I did make note of that last week. Mental note of that.
I actually, if we're gonna go full circle, ever since the Diddy stuff have come out, he's been very quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, just check on your people. You never know.
Jeez.
You never know. Okay, we'll see you guys.